All right. Next item on the agenda is approval of resolution for the 2022-2024 early retirement incentive plan.
Okay, what we've got, we have a retirement incentive plan that was part of a letter of agreement in the last contract that the GEA signed. We just do not have any board signatures. And to make things go smoothly, we're going to go back and cover last year's buyout and this year's buyout. And the resolution talks to that, and then you've got basically a descriptor of what this early retirement incentive plan is.
So we have a resolution in the board packet on page 63. If anybody is interested in reading that resolution to make the motion.
Board resolution. A meeting of the Board of Education of Grant Public School District was held on the 8th day of April 2024 at 6 p.m. Whereas the board believes it is in the best interest of the district to offer reasonable financial incentive to teachers who meet certain criteria and desire to voluntarily retire from the district. And whereas the board has authority under the Michigan Revised School Code to offer such an incentive, and whereas the board desires that participation in the Grant Public Schools 2022-2024 early retirement incentive plan for teachers shall be totally voluntary on the part of any eligible employee, and whereas the board may or may not offer such an incentive in the future. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the Board of Education adopts the Grant Public Schools 2024-2024 Early Retirement Incentive Plan for teachers. The plan as presented to be effective immediately and to be published to eligible employees no later than the day following the adoption of this resolution. The terms and conditions of which are set forth in the attached plan document with accompanying exhibits, and further, the board retroactively approves and ratifies past decisions of previous retirees who elected to participate in this plan before it was approved by the board pursuant to this resolution. Be it further resolved that the superintendent or his designee is authorized to implement the plan in accordance with its terms as written. The superintendent and/or his designee shall be the plan administrator with the duties and responsibilities described in the plan document.
All right. Thank you, Sabrina. So we have a motion. Do we have support?
Support.
All right. So we have a motion and support. So I want to point out, Sabrina, I think you said 2024, 2024 is 2022, 2024. I know it was just a misspeak on your part when you were going through that. So just so that the board understands the situation with this, the same day that the GEA contract was approved by the board, there was also a letter of agreement dated for that same day, basically putting together a 3-year retirement incentive program. That was never brought to the board for approval, but it has been paid out. So we have to, well, yes. So we had 4 or 5 teachers last year, I believe, participate in this plan, and we have some teachers that are planning on participating in this year. Now, they don't know that this was not done properly, but so we are going back and with this resolution, we are retroactively approving the payments from a year ago, and we are approving the payments for this year, because again, the folks that are looking to participate in this, they didn't know that it wasn't actually approved, okay? The letter of agreement actually that was put together stated that it was for the entire term of the GEA contract. Okay, so through 2025, this is allowing it through this year, and then it's done. So that's the situation with this one.
Was it the $20,000? Is that what?
This is, yes, this is that $20,000 payment. If they, the teacher has to meet certain criteria to get that payment.
But the ones who went last year, that's already been paid out to them.
Those have been paid,
In
yes.
full?
I'm sorry?
In full, or was it in increments? Do you-
However they chose to get that payment, I don't know those details. So, again, we're retroactively, with this, we're retroactively approving that move that was made, because it was made without board approval, and we're approving that for this year, and then it's done.
Question number one.
I'm sorry?
Question number one. What if we do not approve it? What happens?
Well, we can't do much about the money that was paid out already. I think that the big thing with this is the folks that signed up for this thinking that this was a valid plan for them, they get hit the worst, right? Because they were planning on this, and so this is one of those side deals, guys, that we're trying to, clean up.
So how many did we have go last year?
I think it was 4 or 5, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't know the exact number. I don't know, Holly, do you?
3.
It was 3 last year? Okay, 3 last year, and we have how many this year?
We have 2 right now.
2 right now? 3 right now, okay. So,
So 8, so that has cost us $160,000.
No,
No?
there's 3 and then 3.
Just 3 from last year, not 5?
3.
yep, 3,
So it'd be 6. So
Yes.
120,000.
yes.
But we were looking for people to retire at that point in the discussion. We wanted them to retire because we wanted to, save
Yeah.
money that way, bringing in new teachers. So we've already saved that part. I mean,
Yep.
we've saved that.
And
That's
these-
just like if they were still there.
And these were, we had these discussions when there were labor negotiations and
Yes.
there were, so I don't know where the surprise is coming from, but.
So you just want us to make the decision as we go ahead with this year?
We
And
need,
that would be
we
just
need
through-
board action on this to spend the money. We're spending taxpayer money right now without board action.
So I make a motion, we proceed with it.
Okay, well, we have a motion and we have support.
Okay.
So on this resolution, the question, we're in discussion. If there's no other discussion, we can call the vote.
Well, East said a side deal. So just for clarity, who signed the letter? I mean, if it wasn't in the contract that the board approved, and this came forth, there was some sort of a letter or agreement at the same time that the contract was signed?
Dated the same day, yes.
The same day.
Yes.
So who and when, where did this all take place? Why wasn't it part of the contract if it was done at the same time? So I'm trying to understand how the flow of how it even came into existence.
Yeah,
And
Kevin, I think
enforced.
you have a little bit of background on that, if you want to share.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you look at the contract, the board didn't even sign it. So, if we want to get into the bigger fish in the pond, I think we honor the commitment that was made. The staff, the teachers, they aren't aware of this.
Right.
So.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
Right.
And we're not doing business that way anymore.
So
Things
how-
need to be signed off by the board. There needs to be communication in that aspect.
No, I agree with that. I don't have a problem.
The
Yeah, we're not
letter of
here-
agreement had the signature of our past superintendent and a GEA member. I don't remember exactly who it was that signed it.
Okay. Which, that's okay if they did that, but it should have been brought to the board.
Legally, yes.
Legally,
It
the
has to
whole
come
9
to the
yards.
board before we spend the money, yes.
Right. Okay.
But we knew
No,
that. We knew it was going to happen.
superintendents have the authority to sign contracts for their staff and their employees. We manage the superintendent. The superintendent manages the staff. I don't know how to make it more clear than that, but whatever.
The superintendent does have the authority to spend up to a certain amount. You are right. The superintendent does not have the legal authority to implement a program like this without board approval. Are we good to call the vote?
I am.
Okay. All right, Danette,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Rich,
Yeah,
I'm an aye. Rob? Aye. Sabrina?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
All right, thank you, motion passes.
All right, excuse me. Dr. Mike Maximchuk, I am the GEA president. Technically, membership chair is the title, but more colloquially, we use the term president. I was vaguely aware that the board was considering a resolution to rescind, basically, the early retirement incentive, based off earlier comments from Mr. Aiken that Marshall Great said that any of the letters of agreement that are between the board and the GEA aren't worth the paper they are written on. I will tell you the position of the GEA as well as the MEA is that anytime there is a bargaining happening in good faith, that the superintendent is the bargaining agent and representative for the school board, just like we've got a chief negotiator. And so if it's been signed by those two, it is in good faith. Secondly, I want to clarify a few things because there were some questions about the TA, tentative agreement, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with it, or the LOA. So the letter of agreement, that was made at the request of then board president Chris Leslie. Chris asked us to remove that from the contract as part of the negotiation process. It was to be part of the contract for the 2022 to 2024 contract. To get the board on board, just because not sure with finances, we were still kind of coming out of COVID, to make the board more comfortable with it, we agreed that it would be a letter of agreement. If you look at the contract, it was signed, and when it was presented to our membership, it was a package deal of the letter of agreement for the retirement incentive, for the duration of the contract, as well as the contract itself. And I just looked at the meeting minutes that are online. 6 board members were present, and it was a 6-0 vote, all in favor of ratifying our contract. And I know for a fact that part of that was the TA, or the letter of agreement. Chris Leslie, Rob Skidema, Rachel Gort, Neil Gears, Danette Obanoff, and Diane Ring all voted in favor of it. May 26th, 2022. So I guess my next question, if we bargained this in good faith, why are you bringing it up now? We've had this for several years. I've met with Holly. We've discussed this. We've enacted paperwork and contracts for teachers to get paid. Why now? I'd like some answers as the union president, because the next step, we're going to end up, well, not we, the board's going to spend more legal fees because this will be grieved. Per our contract, we have 15 days to grieve it, and you will be hearing from the GEA if we don't resolve this. Thank you.